testosterone, we have a problem.
This is Outside the Manosphere, where two guys grow their bromance,
non-toxic bromance,
their non-toxic bromance, by exploring masculinity, manosphere culture, and joy in the stupidest timeline.
Join us.
Welcome to Outside the Manosphere. I'm Skip.
And I'm Carlos.
Our main topic for the day is microfeminisms. But first, what's your news item for the day?
My news item for the day is the Supreme Court is about to end their little session, and their last session before, I guess, the year's out or the fall. I don't know how that works exactly. But among other consequential decisions, this one's the most salacious, and I'm very happy about it, is that they refuse to entertain Trump's appeal for his sexual assault case in New York, which means it stands. He's got to pay $5 million for being a convicted sex offender. Yeah. He's and that was his last chance. So it's stuck. It's going to be on him now for the rest of his days.
Perpetuity.
So we have a established sexual criminal.
Documented
leading the country, and hopefully he's going to pay. I mean, he owes $5 million to this woman, but I don't know how they'll enforce that. But anyway, that's my news item. What you got?
Yeah, I actually was on kind of the same wavelength with some Supreme Court decisions where they're given real mixed signals on that whole democracy thing. So, like, for one, they upheld some voting things, that late vote counting, for instance, which is something that Trump and some of the right really wants to get rid of because Democrats tend to vote more through mail. Mm-hmm. And states like California get loads and loads and loads of votes, and it takes them a long time to count votes. And they want to do away with the ability to count all the votes. But the Supreme Court said, yeah, no, voting is important, and we're going to do that. But they also did give Trump the power to fire independent regulators of a lot of different things, like the FTC and the FDA and things like that. And it's really noteworthy that these are positions that were established by Congress. So Congress is the body that makes laws. And the Supreme Court has now thrown the checks and balances kind of out of whack because they're saying, those laws you made, we don't care about them. And then they also simultaneously contradicted themselves because they were like, well, the president needs to be able to do this. And they were like, with no ifs, ands, or buts, no exceptions, except for in the next case, we're going to have an exception, which is about the Fed chair. And they said, actually, when it comes to our money, we don't want you fucking with our money too much. So just kind of like lots of mixed signals, completely no through line, which I think is important. Is like, they don't care. It's very clear they care a little bit about democracy, but not a ton. They don't care about the checks and balances. They do care about their money. And we're just kind of getting some real mixed signals from the court and some of the safeguards to, our safety and our regulation of different things like clean air and who is able to do what on airways and things like that. Those are getting taken down, and they're getting taken down by the top court in the land. So that's not great, but yeah.
Well, and that's something that, I mean, there's not an end in sight to that. That's going to be happening for decades, probably. Maybe not, decades, because there's going to always be a conservative majority until people start petering out of there. You know what I mean? And there happens to be a Democratic president to appoint liberal judges. But right now they're vastly outnumbered. And I mean, I don't see how that's going to change unless they start filling in more judges, or somebody unexpectedly dies or retires or something. But it's a bleak future.
It is a bleak future. And the other thing is that this also opens up something that is going to be complete chaos, which is before you had a through line in some of these organizations where they're actually just trying to do what's best for the country in some things. But now every 4 years, potentially, when there's a new president, you can fire entire organizational structures to start over with a completely different set of goals based on whoever the president is. So it's going to be like a tug of war back and forth, just kind of like, oh, the EPA is trying to protect things now. Oh, the EPA is trying to destroy things now. And like it's going to be complete chaos, and it's going to, whether you want these organizations to do one thing or the other, they're going to become very ineffectual at either way, and it's going to go back and forth. And
Well, and
you
it's
know,
not even just the back and forth. It's also if you have like a stooge in there who's afraid of losing their job,
mhm,
they might just acquiesce so that they can stay in their position
sure,
and not be the one that was appointed originally by that president, but still do their bidding because they don't want to.
right,
They want to keep their seat. So yeah, and it's not good. It's not
no,
positive. I don't know how that even. And it was there was precedent too. It was like 100 years ago. This was already affirmed law by the Supreme Court. So I don't know
yeah,
what.
they haven't really cared about precedent, which is wild because that's the entire kind of thing with them.
Mhm,
They
mhm.
haven't cared about laws, which their entire thing is supposed to be in adjudicating the laws that Congress makes, not overturning the laws that Congress makes, because Congress makes the laws. But
Yeah,
yeah, so
I mean, you can the point about. I mean, they can overturn the law because we can, as citizens, can contest something that we consider to be unfair or unjust or whatever.
sure.
But yeah, man, it's there was a point where the Supreme Court was kind of above the politics of it all, and they were the
Yeah,
ones that you can at least rest assured that they were going to look at it in black and white, and this is going to be well, which is you can't always look at laws in black and white, but they were going to be objective at least.
yeah.
That was the hope and that was the expectation. Now it's just completely out the window.
And they've also been above like kind of showing it in public. And I don't know if you saw the thing with Alito and Sotomayor recently, but basically there was kind of a dust up in public, more or less because Alito didn't read his email because he's kind of like a little bit incompetent. But basically, she said, and it was communicated to him, and it's documented, and like the court has said this, like she was going to read her opinion and on a case that she differed from the majority on. And like he was like, what if I had been made known of this? If I had been made aware of this, I would have done some more supportive arguments and stuff. And everybody was kind of like, you were. You
Check your
just
emails.
yeah, you just don't like pay attention. You've already made up your mind and you're not paying attention to anything
Right,
anymore. You're
right, right.
checked out. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not great. It's not a great look. And it's not a great reality.
Yeah, you know what? And in the past, I was against like packing the courts with, and I guess I still kind of am, but like I don't see how this can be course corrected any other way, unless there's like a term limits for these judges, but because right now they're lifetime appointments. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't see another way. The reason I was against it is because okay, you have a Democratic president, they're going to add 3 more seats. And then what's the Republican president do when he or she comes in? They're going to do the same thing,
Yeah.
and it's just going to go back and forth. And there's going to be 100 Supreme Court judges until
Yeah.
they all get wiped clean and start again. I don't know, but
No.
I don't know how to solve it.
I mean, it's hard without a lot more reform, right? Because you'd need like one thing that would be really easy. I mean, really easy in theory is to pass a law about conflict of interest because a lot of the worst people on the Supreme Court have tons of conflicts of interest that they just kind of overlook and they're just like, I'm gonna weigh in on this case anyway. But like you'd have to get Congress to pass a law about that. And
Which is a
that's
conflict of
not gonna
interest for
happen.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not gonna happen.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I don't throw around the word corruption lightly, but I mean, it's very, very subtle at first glance. But there's a
Mhm.
lot of corruption just in legislation and the legal system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, here it is. I mean, you're looking at it. So with Clarence Thomas is just like
But yeah, that's not subtle at all.
embarrassing. Jesus.
Yeah, it's flagrant with Clarence Thomas and to some degree with Alito, but Clarence Thomas is pretty out there, pretty
No,
brazen.
dude, it's like, yeah, it's very, very clear. Anyway,
So that was fun.
yeah, so that was a downer.
Well, but it's interesting that both of us were tuned into the Supreme Court today.
Yeah.
So,
And you know what? I thought about, I was hoping you'd bring up some of the other cases because I really wanted to just needle Trump, but that's the most inconsequential of all of them. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
it's just something to like, sneer and be happy about because
Right.
fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But the other ones, there's actually going to be consequences to them.
Yeah.
And we want to see them right away, but it will happen. And it's something that a Democratic president can misuse as well. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like this isn't just a conservative problem. This is just a problem we shouldn't be giving to the president.
I mean, I'm happy about the Fed decision about him not being able to pay the Fed. But
You're happy that didn't change. I mean, you're like, well, at least that stayed the same. Yeah.
But even that was 5-4. And like people that are not like ensconced in any kind of economic theory, like allowing him to fire the Fed chair is what leads to, I can't remember, it was Zimbabwe or something. One of the African republics had like inflation because they were allowed to basically do this, to where it was like 1 trillion or several trillion of their currency to $1. Because if you start just making political decisions about monetary things, your whole system collapses. People have no idea how much bad news that would have been if they had allowed that. Like the US would have collapsed as a power because of the monetary problems.
I think you're forgetting though that we got Trump with his steady hand on the wheel.
His tiny steady hands.
And he's got a plan. He's got a plan, Skip.
Tiny, bruised, steady hands. Yes.
Okay, Skip. Well, our red flag of the day. Let me pose a question to you before I reveal it. Friends. How many friends would you say you have? Like, I've got a bunch of friends, on Facebook, but as far as like close friends, I can probably name them on one hand. What about you?
Yeah, same. Yeah, I've got a lot of friendly acquaintances.
Okay,
I'd say, but I've got few very close friends.
How many of them are like decades old, like friendships?
Yeah, a couple. Similar number, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, somewhere in there. I'll just leave it as 2, 3, 4. You can stop editing there.
Okay.
It gets into history and stuff.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I mean, all friendships are complex and complicated, and I mean, I've got friends that I haven't spoken to in a while.
Yeah.
That I feel like I could always reach out to them, and we're still friends, even though it's been Jesus over a decade since I've spoken to them. But maybe they wouldn't feel the same way. I don't know.
Mine's more complicated because of how many times I've moved in my life. So like
same, yeah.
I went to a different first grade, second, third. I went to one place, fourth, half of fifth, sixth, different. Just like constantly moving around, and that's not great for building like relationship. Like the idea of having a relationship with somebody from when you were a kid is completely foreign to me because like the only people I've known since I was a kid. Well, I like a little kid or like cousins that I'm not really around anymore. I do have a friend or two or a friend from 5th grade and some friends that I haven't talked to in a long time, but I consider them good friends still from like high school. But like, it's kind of, and then moving abroad and back and forth and all around the US, it's not ideal for those situations.
Yeah. We moved around a ton. We stayed in our same school districts, but like just as an adult, I've just been bouncing. It's the only reason I have social media now is just so I can keep in touch with all these people that I've known for so long. So before I go further, let me just say what the red flag is, and that's somebody who has and maintains long-term friendships.
The red flag is that they maintain
if they don't have like friends. Basically, if they don't have friends, essentially is what I'm trying to say. And I mean, friends is one thing because you, like you said, you can move to a new town and appear to not know anyone, have anyone. But if you don't have any like roots somewhere, well, if you don't have established friendships that you've carried with you throughout your life, I think that is a red flag, and I'll get into why in a second. But yeah, I wanted to say that what I've noticed about some of my friendships, male friendships anyway, is that like my oldest continuing friendship, I've known this guy since, I've mentioned him a few times, since like 88, I think. And like there have been years like when we were still kids that we just kind of didn't talk or whatever because I moved away or whatever. But we always reconnected. And like, I feel like we have maintained that relationship intentionally because he's an only child, and I mean, I've got sisters, but like we've both wanted this to stay friends because we've wanted each other in our lives for our as we've aged, you know what I mean? And I've got a couple other friends that I've known since like middle school and stuff that like we kind of reconnected a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. And we don't really talk that much. We've got like a text chain going on. But like, I don't know, I found it I guess pleasant that we all are all kind of on the same page of like, let's communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just an aging thing. We're all getting older. You know, I've kind of compared men to like little islands that we just drift apart, and women too, I guess. But like,
Mhm.
and you suddenly find yourself like alone in an ocean. And I think like maybe on a subconscious level, so many of us have recognized that and have like tried to maintain that connection. So, but yes, so without getting even more long winded, yeah, if you don't have any long term relationships to speak of, I do think that's a red flag. What do you think about that? What do you think about that as a red flag?
Yeah, I think it's a good one. It's probably one that hits a little close to home for me, but because, like I said, moving around a lot has not been ideal for relationships, and I've said before, I think many times in the first season, my communication has been somewhat abominable in these.
Same, yeah.
I don't like communicating through like messages, and I've fallen off a little bit, but I am now kind of hot cold with trying to communicate, just like write people that I care about that I haven't seen in a long time,
Mhm.
and I'm not awesome at it, but I'm trying.
I think
Sometimes it's
there's a
hard because they're not able to communicate back because they don't like it.
but I guess maybe a better way of asking would be, I mean, how many of these, maybe once close relationships that you had with men or women, how many of them ended?
Oh,
Like this, like
ended.
we are no longer friends because
But
of
yeah, I
of
don't.
a conflict or a grudge or disagreement of
Not
some
many
kind.
of them
Yeah.
at all. Yeah,
Okay. All right. I think
yeah,
that's a difference. So like,
yeah.
so you can say, well, this does hit close to home because yeah, I haven't maintained friendships and I find myself like with my family and maybe one or two people.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I think it's one thing to be like, well, I've lost touch with X amount of people
Yeah,
versus this is my former friend because of this
sure.
occurrence. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
because
yeah.
we couldn't reconcile this something or another. I think if you've got a lot of those,
Fair.
that's something to maybe consider.
I think, to some degree, you still need to like take you need to take responsibility, or I need to take responsibility for letting some relationships kind of wane. But, it's something that I'm trying to fix. And it's certainly definitely several degrees differently from things just continually blowing up. And which I guess, I've had a few of those as well, but not like the vast majority. It would be a small minority, I would say.
Yeah. I don't think I have any friendships that like ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had some relationships that ended. Romantic relationships, I mean, but like I don't think I have any friends that like we have decided we're not going to be friends anymore because
Yeah.
there have been some I could
Tensions.
think yeah, there definitely and I could think of
Yeah.
one that I've like stood by partners and be like, "Okay, well, I guess we can't be friends anymore."
Sure.
because I've got to like support my partner.
Yeah.
And they're the ones having this conflict. But I've chosen a side, I guess, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
necessarily something that I felt strongly about.
No, I would classify mine more as like those tension ones where it's like we haven't decided not to be friends, but there's definitely tension there, and
Sure.
like it's hard to. It's sometimes, especially with like certain people, it's hard to resolve because like some people just don't like to talk,
Yeah,
and
that's yeah,
that makes it difficult. But
yeah.
yeah,
I've had that. Yeah, I've had the tension where it's like, well, we just kind of drift away because there was tension there,
yeah,
and we never addressed it. And
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah,
rather than deal with it, we just kind of stopped chatting. But it
yeah.
was never like, man, fuck you, and then it's
Right.
over. So, as to why this is a red flag, I think that a long term friendship it requires a lot of the same skills that a romantic one does, and it kind of preps you for what you're capable of in a relationship. So
Got to be really good at making out.
you got to be able to make out with these people. If you can't do
Yeah,
that, if you're not getting the practice there, but I mean, like maintaining a friendship is
yeah,
maintaining a relationship. You got to be loyal to them. You have to be able to communicate. You have to forgive them. And that's a big
yeah.
thing because we all fuck up and we all, say stupid things and we all argue.
Sure.
And if you're just going to be mad about it and then not forgive, well, then
Yeah,
the friendship's over. And that's exactly what's going to happen in a
yeah.
relationship as well.
I think that it does bear being said that there are relationships that are good to walk away from as well. But if you're finding that most of them are relationships that you feel like are good to walk away from, there's probably a deeper problem there. Like,
Well, it's like looking at the red flag we had before about past relationships. If you don't have
yeah,
anything positive to say about your past relationships, you're like,
exactly.
oh, they did this to me, or I was a victim. That's a
Yeah,
red flag. You know what I mean?
yeah,
The same thing with
yeah,
your
yeah,
friends. Like, oh yeah, they all betrayed me.
yeah,
They all backstabbed me. They all stole from me. Oh, well, that's something else. Something else is going on there.
yeah, yeah. I agree. But yeah, in certain cases it makes sense, but it really should be a minority of the relationships, like a small minority, I would
Yeah.
think, of your
Yeah.
past relationships that just like exploded. Yeah, and I can't really think of like really really explosive things that have ever happened with. I can when I was like in second or third grade. I had a
Okay.
buddy. So this is playground buddies, and like we were both. He was into Huey Lewis and the News, and we were close to each other, so we'd ride bikes to each other's houses, and we were both really into pound puppies at the time because those were cool. But we were at recess one day, and a bird shit on his jacket, and man, I thought that was hilarious, and I was like dead to him.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. That was it. That was it for the relationship for life. And there was just no coming back because I thought it was funny that a bird pooped on his jacket.
Wow. That is funny.
And I was in second, third grade, whatever it was. I could have been more sensitive, I guess. But I mean, to be fair, like it's pretty funny when a bird poops on somebody.
I think it's funny now.
Yeah.
I had a student in Prague that I don't know what I said to her, but I made her mad,
Yeah.
and she never really told me, but she just stopped talking to me. She stopped being my student, and I'm like, what? I don't know what I did, but I hate those relationships. I mean, she was
Yeah.
a client, but we were like friendly with each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I don't. To this day, I'm like, I said something to her. I
But
made her mad.
you also have to, like, if that doesn't happen to you a lot in your life, and especially if you know a little bit more about the other person, like that happens a lot to them, then you can kind of realize, okay, that maybe I said something, but maybe this person is just kind of like an explosive person that I'm better off without. That's one of those situations I was talking about
I didn't
where,
miss her at all. Yeah.
yeah, like I've seen this happen a lot where it's just like everybody that they're friends with, eventually they blow it up, and it's just like, and it's always the other people's fault because they did something, and it's like, I don't know, after a while it becomes clear that like you're exploding things somehow, or you're being unfair or whatever.
No, there was something reactive to her, and I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, she was just a really sensitive person, I guess, and I'm fine not having somebody like that around me
Sure.
because I'm walking on eggshells, so you don't like offend them is just absurd, and I won't do it. So yeah, no. When she stopped being my student, I was like, well, okay, that's fine. There will be others.
Well, and I think this gets kind of to the heart of the manosphere because a lot of the manosphere is driven by lonely dudes that don't have connections.
Hmm.
And like there's a certain amount of leeway that you have to give to just like this is the modern world and it's like way harder to make connections. But at the same time, it's definitely what's driving a lot of the hate and animosity and stuff is this loneliness and the reaction to it. Uh,
Hmm.
and it happens in young men on these forums in a much different way than it happens to women when they're feeling alone. So like we can kind of like see some of this from the manosphere, and we can say, okay, we have to give a certain amount of leeway, but also like you have a responsibility for how you react to it. And like you have a responsibility to like, yes, it's hard to go make friends, but you've got to go like make an active choice to try and do that
Right, and
at some point.
it's not all gonna like align for you just
Right.
when you sit back and lace your fingers behind your head. You have to actually work at it, and you have to. It's a two-way street.
Well, and if the friendships that you create are centered around how miserable and hateful and lonely you are, that's probably not going to be a productive relationship. Like
Hmm.
if that's the common bond that you're forming with people, that's not great. You got to have something positive or something at least neutral that you have in common and things like that to form that friendship nut around.
Sure. You're joining together via grievances, and that's
Yeah.
like the strength of your relationship, and that creates militias.
Festering. It's
Yes.
festering. Yeah.
And then people are charging the Capitol. Oh, green flags. Do you got any green flags?
Yeah, actually, our news items this week perfectly set us up for my green flag,
Okay.
which is just a guy that knows what's going on in the world, at least a little bit. So we
Okay.
both brought in news items with the Supreme Court, which the Supremes, which happened like for us just today. They'll be released later on. And happy 250th birthday, America. We're a little late on that by the time this gets released. But like just knowing what's going on in the world and like how it affects you and other people and how you fit into it. And that's something that's important. People that are just not able to like give a shit about what's going on in the world. I think that's, it can be overwhelming. So it's not like nail in the coffin red flag, but it's definitely a green flag if you do know what's going on and you care about it.
Well, if you know what's going on and you're not pissed off about it, because you can think you know what's going on and you're just following fucking Newsmax and you're just eyeballs deep in conspiracy and cynicism, and that's not knowing what's going on. That's actually the opposite of reality. But just being informed, I agree. Yeah, that's a really good green flag.
Well, thank you. How about you?
Mine is very simple, and it's just being punctual. And I think that could also be a sign of somebody with a stick up their ass. But I think if you're punctual, it also is an indication of someone's consideration for your time.
I agree.
Or other people's time, and they don't want to be late. They don't want to keep you waiting. It shows reliability. Yeah, I think it's a really good a green flag. It shows that they're considerate.
I agree. We definitely, I mean, in Prague, it's not an uncommon thing for people to be like, noon means 12:45.
Mhm.
And I have adapted to not being really annoyed by it so much. You just kind of plan for it. But I always do, like, it's always a little note as well. Like, this person is, tacitly or implicitly telling me their time is worth more than my time.
Sure.
In some way, like that they're allowed to be 45 minutes late for whatever reason, but I've been sitting here waiting and that's fine, and that I think all those things that you said, but you also like, there's certain cultures like island cultures and in Prague, if you're going to be a redliner on that, it's going to be real hard not to be just angry and bitter all the time.
Well, and that's
definitely a green flag.
And that's your punctuality is their red flag too. Like, this guy's really uptight.
Yeah. But I will note that you and I are always here a couple minutes early before we start. And because we're both I'm guessing from on time is late families.
Yeah, I feel the same way, or at least just a couple minutes early. I'm not that whole 15 minutes early or you're late sort of thing. But yeah, just to be on time is enough for me. But I was going to say though, I mean, if you are late, it's like for me, a passing apology is fucking fine.
It does. It does a lot of work.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm so sorry I'm late. I just lost track of time. Hey, that's fine. That works. That's just fine for me. Even if you say I lost track of time, I was just watching TV and I lost track of time. Like, you know what? That's fine. Thanks for acknowledging that you were late and that I've been sitting here.
Yeah, just some kind of consideration, some kind of empathy. I know that's a 4-letter word in the manosphere, but some kind of empathy for the person that you're meeting with does a lot of work.
Boom.
So for our main topic today, Carlos, you wanted to bring in an article about microfeminisms. What is that?
Whoa. I feel like this is a macro aggression from you here. Yes, well, for the record, this is your article, Skip, but I did read it. And
what is it?
I think maybe it was my article. I don't know. Either way.
I can't remember.
I read it and maybe for the second time. and I enjoyed it. It's about... So we've heard about microaggressions where like, I think the example they've even given in the article is like a sales clerk at a convenience store following around a black teenager or whatever, because they might be stealing. Like, that's not being aggressive, but it is, because you're following them around, kind of creating the expectation that they're going to steal or making them feel like they're going to, or they're just being watched, whatever. It's aggressive. Well, these these microfeminisms are kind of the same thing, but just kind of needling men in some way. And it's just such a stupid thing to say because, like, I think the author, this article was called, quote, "Hello, ladies and sons of ladies, colon, women are using, quote, microfeminisms to flip the gender script." And one of the examples she uses is saying, when she's describing a narrative or whatever, she describes the main person as just she. You know what I'm saying? They're telling a story rather than saying, "Oh, he did this, he did that." No, she did this, she did that. I think in her emails, when she's addressing like a couple, she'll address the woman first. Like, "Hey, Jody and Carlos."
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So they're not aggressive, they're not over the top, but they're little microfeminisms, just kind of acknowledging that it's typically a male.
Man's world.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So I don't know. What do you think about it?
I read this and I just think this article's hilarious, like from top to bottom, because it's just like, it's not even like aggressive in the way that microaggressions are.
Right.
It's just kind of a fun little needling that's poking. It's like satirical, really.
Yeah.
It's like satirizing our male forward, our patriarchal kind of society by all these people that don't agree that we're in a patriarchy, by just like satirizing it by making it ladies first sort of a thing, and like calling it a mommy long legs as the spider instead of a daddy long legs, and just like if it irks you, it's like, yeah, that's the world that ladies live in, and this is just a funny way of pointing that out. If you can't live with just like tiny little doses of reality, I don't know, man.
Yeah, get over it. So the article was written by a woman named Elena Demopoulos, and she was describing a podcaster and Seattle-based author named Tori Dunlap. Dunlap, in her podcast, asked her listeners to send in their microfeminisms, like what do they do on a day-to-day. And a few of them were pretty funny. Simple stuff like immediately assuming that men are talking about women's sports instead of men's, which is funny
because
because, like,
hilarious.
yeah. Calling mommy long legs instead of daddy long legs, as you said. Only planting female trees in their yards, which is funny. As a waitress, go ahead.
I liked saying I like your costume when men are wearing a jersey. I thought that was hilarious.
I think costume's funny to me. I think even funnier would be outfit. I like your outfit.
Yeah.
So there was a waitress who said that whenever a couple orders the same thing, that she gives the larger portion to the female.
Yeah.
the larger or better looking portion to the female,
and the fruitiest drink to the man.
Yeah, with an umbrella or whatever.
Yeah.
It goes to the guy. Yeah. So yeah, it's funny. It's a minor thing that I think, I think something like that might actually inspire a man to think more than they might have otherwise, because like I note stuff like that. If I hear like a speaker and they're constantly using a female gender pronoun, I note it, and it's not something I'm like, oh, this fucking feminist. I just like, I'm so used to hearing or reading about a male pronoun that when I hear a female, I notice it. And so yeah, I think little microfeminisms could actually be really, really helpful to somebody who's not, aggressively male, but they don't really think about it very much. And for women too, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think these are generally they're so fun, and like they're just little needling things, man. For people that would get just irate, it's like, extremely touchy about this. And that's something that you should examine. And like, if you're one of these guys that's extremely touchy about this, and at the same time saying things about how women are the left are so emotional or something, maybe examine that. Like,
because you have no reason. You have no reason to be upset about it. None at all. There's no reason to be mad that this narrative is switching to feminism. And I think it's also it's a healthier way. Like I think we did a training session at work a few weeks ago, and there was a woman there who was very vocally annoyed, and she was just pissed off that like in the training videos and stuff we were watching, there were no women. There was, and she was like to the facilitator, she's like, these are all women. These are all men.
Yeah.
In the videos, and rightfully so. Like it's fucking annoying. And I feel like her annoyance and her anger was a little outsized, but clearly it's something that's been bothering her. She sees it probably 1,000 times more than I do because it's just not on my radar, right? So like it had been affecting her. But my response to her in my head anyway, I didn't cause a stink or anything, was like, you're pissed off, you're disrupting the whole class, and you're attacking this facilitator who had nothing to fucking do with the video.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it to me, it didn't do service to what she was trying to draw attention to. You know what I mean? Like she was angry.
Well, it's sort of like yelling at your waiter if something's cooked wrong. Like they didn't do anything except bring this to you. Like they had nothing to do with the production of this, like, and it's just one of those fundamental things it's a real red flag to attack people that don't really have the power in the situation. Like it's one thing, they are like somebody that's on a call center phone. Like you should be polite to them. If they start fucking with you, that's a different deal. But like the things that they have no power over, you have to be nice about.
Yeah.
Like, and if they start, it's only when they start doing things that are within their power that you have any right to get upset.
I agree. Yeah. And to be fair, she wasn't like mad or anything. She was just, she was frustrated, and she was visibly frustrated.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was very helpful for the cause that she was drawing attention to, because she was frustrated.
It is a super fair frustration, because in some of these cases, especially with the assumption that it's a man, sometimes it affects the way the job is done, and they don't even bother giving information about how women, like who might not be as strong or might have different safety issues, or like if the person in the video that you're working on as a man, like there's different things that you have to do with women, like for medical reasons or something like that. Like ignoring all that is hugely problematic.
Absolutely. And women are absolutely underserved in these like trainings as well. Like it was a valid complaint. Definitely. I'm not minimizing that. It's just, I'm comparing it right now to microfeminisms and the how effective like being funny is.
Sure.
And then, it's hard to be funny when you're pissed off. You know what I mean? Like she was clearly like worked up about it, but like, my response, if I were an asshole, could have been like, why are you so mad right now? Like this is a training. Whereas if she had just been funny about it, or if she had just been like a stinker about it, I would have got mad. Not necessarily. I mean, if I were an asshole, you sort of thing, if I were in the reverse seat, like that's something that might have made somebody else angry and made them question their own anger rather than like focusing on hers. So yeah, I think these microfeminisms are highly effective at just making somebody think, and it flips the script literally and figuratively, because they're actually having to think about the opposite side. So I think it's very, very effective, I think.
I'll do a little defense of getting angry, which is, like, I think it's hard to know what's going on, and this may have been like the straw that broke the camel's back. It may be that she's done the microfeminisms.
Sure.
She's done all these things and nothing is working. And of course you get frustrated. And for some people, seeing somebody get really angry will cause them to question, like, I never thought about this. Why is this person so angry as well? So like,
true.
Like, I don't know. I think there's points at which people have the right to be pretty upset, and sometimes it may not be the most strategic thing, but sometimes making that loud angry voice, sometimes that is something that affects.
And I'm not contesting that. Like she had every reason to be annoyed, and I don't want to minimize that, and I don't want to dump the responsibility of these changes on women using microfeminisms. Like, well, it's up to you to be funny about this if you want things to change. Yeah. What I guess I'm trying to point to is the efficacy of reaching the manosphere. Like you'll never, if you get pissed off at them, you're never gonna reach them. And unfortunately,
that's their game. That's their game.
No, that's what they're after. So. But you can make them hang themselves with their own anger. You know what I mean? With microfeminisms, and that's funny to me.
Yeah. Either way, I think microfeminisms are both insightful and hilarious, like satire should be. And it's like just satire. If you can't enjoy satire, I don't know.
So that's microfeminisms. Love or hate them, utilize them or not, but they're effective in my book.
And I like them too.
We like them. Outside the manosphere stamp of approval. All right, Skip. Well, we have hit the joys section of our episode. What's your joy? What's your joy or joys this week?
So one of my joys is just the heat breaking. It's so nice because it was so flippin' hot here,
Mhm.
and air conditioners are not prevalent in Europe. Just like the heat breaking and having a livable temperature again, very nice. Also, we're leaving for Romania on Friday, so I mentioned that last time, but I'm very excited about that. We'll be off the podcast air for the next 3 weeks, I guess, while I'm gone. And the last one is an unbelievable thing. So you know that I had a visa company, Carlos, because that's how we met
Yes.
partially. And I had a partner originally, and he up and disappeared. He up and disappeared like a year into the company, but he
Okay.
owned half of the company. So I've had this zombie company that's been shut down for like 12 years. And I had not been able, I've sent this guy registered letters and emails and like all kinds of stuff trying to just close this company down
Yeah.
for years. And every couple of years, I look into closing it down like through the courts and try and write him again. And it's always like, well, you can continue to pay $100 a year to do the taxes for this company that's not doing anything, or you can pay like $2,500 to hire a lawyer to close this company down. And it's always like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep paying the taxes because it's such a like big lift to do the other version. Well, I started looking at this again and I wrote the guy, and after 12 years, he wrote me back.
Holy shit.
He wrote me back and he was like, I'm sorry. I ran away. I was a coward. I was ashamed. And I never knew why he ran away. And he didn't say, like, something happened in his life. And he was like, I was a coward. I was ashamed. I couldn't like face you. And I'm really sorry that I did this all this time ago. And I'd be happy to sign whatever you need to get the company closed. And
Wow.
it was just like such a relief to have like literal closure and actual closure, because I didn't know if this guy was alive or dead, or I still
So
don't know
weird.
what happened with him. But it was nice to get something that was like, it was my fault I ran away because I was a coward, and not just like, I hate you, you did something wrong. And I was like, I've always wondered. I wondered, like, did I do something terrible? And
Yeah.
I'm sure that there was something there, but that's not what his email said at all. And so it was just really nice to it's really nice to be able to close this chapter. And ostensibly, um, I sent him the papers to sign, and hopefully he'll just sign them and send them back. But yeah, it's really nice to have this closure, literally for the company and figuratively for this relationship and period of my life. So
Is he a Czech guy?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So he couldn't run far.
No, no, no. And he was a nice young guy, just a few years younger than me. And like, I started the visa company and I needed a partner that spoke Czech, and he seemed like a good guy. And I was like, do you want half this company and we can build it together? And he was like, yeah, this is a great deal. And we were doing really well. But I think maybe it was just too much pressure, or maybe there was something else in his life that was going on that I don't know about. But
Mhm.
he just up and disappeared. Like, everybody that knew him was like, I don't know what happened to him. He's gone.
Wow.
So it's just really nice to hear.
Maybe he was in prison or something.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it's
But
weird.
thankfully, it's done. It's
Yeah,
done. It's
good.
like magic. What's your joy?
Nice. Well, dude, mine's like fucking nothing now. That was an epic story.
Oh man, I've got some good stories about this whole thing, but I don't know. Like, there was a period before this that was sort of like a pre-shock, like not an aftershock, where he disappeared for like a week. Nobody could get a hold of him.
Huh.
And he did finally come back, and he gave me this story about like his father-in-law being kidnapped by the Russian mafia. And he talked to the cops, and they said to go somewhere and turn off his phone so people couldn't locate him. And it was just a crazy ass story about why like, everybody at the company was really pissed because like we had things going on. And he came back and he gave me the story, and I was like, well, I can't be mad at you for like, if your father-in-law was really missing, and like the police told you to hide from the Russian mafia. That's a pretty good excuse if it's real. Like, it probably wasn't, but nevertheless, like, I didn't feel comfortable like pushing it too hard. 'Cause
Yeah.
the Russian mafia is here, and
It's
it
a real
was
thing. Yeah.
stronger back then.
And
think,
people
so.
were scared. Like I
Yeah.
remember the Czechs were really scared of the. Yeah. Well,
So it was like a whole, it was there's lots of things in the past with this, but yeah. So anyways, after my saga, your joy is?
so mine's really about an interaction I had with the guy. Very brief. But so Jody's been like, I said before that she was wanting to get a turntable for quite a while. And I was just against it. I'm like, no, we're not going to have a fucking record player. Like, I don't want a record player. It's stupid. There's no point in having one. Like, there's antiquated whatever. Come to love it now. Like, as I said before, I enjoyed like the process, the quiet, the ritual of playing of the record and like being kind of chained to it and everything. Like, I don't know. It's really, really nice. And I've bought a bunch of records. She hasn't bought any. And I'm the one who's just like splurging. But anyway,
it's a real, I'm glad you made me do this situation.
Yeah, it really, it's a green eggs and ham situation for me.
Yeah.
But so I found some guy selling a bunch of records on Marketplace, and I met up with him, and I bought 3 records, and they're all like old. I mean, one Neil Young Harvest, Dark Side of the Moon, and Miles Davis Kind of Blue, which is my go-to for just kind of like quieting my mind.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I picked it up. We had like met window to window in our cars. And the guy, like, I'm not keeping in touch with him or anything, but like, he was just like, you can see like an honesty and like a kindness in his face.
Yeah.
And like at the end, the younger than me, but at the end of the interaction, he looked right at me and he was like, enjoy, like eyebrows raised up. And he was enjoy. Like he knew what I was going to go do with these records.
Right.
And he was like, enjoy them. And I'm like, man, I'm going to enjoy them. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've thought back a couple times in that interaction, and that was really positive and like just a pleasant experience with some stranger that I don't know. Just we met eye to eye, and he knew what I was going to be enjoying, and I understood his affirmation. So
no, it's nice. It's nice. It's a good, like an actual human moment. That's nice.
Yeah, it was pleasant. It was pleasant. Just
and I mean, that's kind of both of ours was a genuine human moment. That's the whole thing.
For sure. Yours is intriguing. Like I'm curious about this guy, and I think you're probably better off not having him around because he seems like, I don't know, a handful. There's something going on there that
it sounds like he was just young and he just needed to grow up a bit. He wrote a real nice email back, and I really appreciated it.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I thanked him for writing me back, and I sent him the papers to sign and said, hopefully this should be it. Like, But some people just need some time.
Some people just need to grow.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Happy joys, and a good time for you in Romania. You and your family, you guys have a good time.
Thank you very much.
You should go to Vlad the Impaler's castle, even if it's a touristy thing. Go check it out, Skip.
We will at least be outside of it. I don't know if we'll take a look, and if the tour is like super crowded and it's hot and whatever, we might skip the actual like tour. But we're definitely going to go like to the town and see it. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, all right, folks, send us your joys, send us your green flags. We'll have a look at them. You can send it to us via email at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com or Facebook or Instagram. We'll be off for the next, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay. So you guys are going to have to grow fond of us while we're gone and miss us all the more and appreciate us all the more.
Thanks for joining us. New podcasts every Wednesday. And if any part of this show has resonated with you, let us know at outsidethemanosphere@gmail.com, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Please like, rate, subscribe to the podcast YouTube channel, or recommend us to a friend. Hasta la pasta.
Mission accomplished.